name is Haley Lamson, and I am the Associate Director of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving at MIT Sloan. Thank you all for coming out on this gray day. It's great to see so many alumni and students here. This is the second year that the Office of Alumni Relations has partnered with SWIM to put this breakfast together. It's our goal to bring together alumni and students to connect and network with one another more often. We're delighted to have guest speaker Kirk Fair with us, and you'll meet her in just a few minutes. I'd first like to introduce our SWIM co-president, Jing Yang from the class of 2015, and Julia Yu from the class of 2014, who will share an update from SWIM on their recent events and activities. Please join me in welcoming Jing and Julia.
Good morning, everyone. We're so excited to have everyone here today at our second annual alumni breakfast. My name is Julia. I'm an outgoing president of SWIM.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jing, one of the new incoming SWIM presidents, and I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone, and especially to our alumni who are here with us today. Let me take a few moments of your time just to share with you some of the latest happenings at SWIM and what we envision SWIM to be in the coming year. So SWIM's mission is to empower women and build professional and personal relationships through nurturing and innovative programming. And we have some of our flagship mentorship programs, as well as events that connect women with industries from entrepreneurship to marketing.
To act on this vision this year, we had many exciting initiatives. First, we reviewed every single case that's presented in our core curriculum to assess how many and how female protagonists are portrayed in the cases. And this is a work in progress. This is in order to ensure fair representation of females in our curriculum here at Sloan. And we also had our annual conference, which was a huge success. It was titled Challenge Accepted, and we had over 300 attendees, and we had a negotiations workshop. We discussed if women manage differently than men, and we had a very interesting discussion around that. And we had our first ever MIT-wide female entrepreneurship pitch contest, where we had about a dozen female candidates pitch their startup ideas, and we actually couldn't choose the winner, so we actually had two winners, and it was a huge success. And last but not least, we just 1 month ago in this room, we met with the first female 4-star general of the Air Force, General Janet Wolfenbarger, who came and spoke with the SWIM leadership, discussing her leadership lessons in the military, and it was a very inspirational event.
All right, so with all these great accomplishments in motion already, the new incoming president and I envision SWIM to be a place where we empower women with all the toolkits that they need and the confidence that they need for their future endeavors. Really to continue to attract the best females to Sloan, we started a few new programming this year, one of them being Women's Only Ambassador Day, where we spoke with potential candidates about the breadth and depth of the program. Additionally, we're thinking of creating a SWIM advisory board where we're hoping to get the help from administration and alumni to think about providing continuity to the club as the leadership transition every single year. So with the Alumni Advisory Board, we really hope to bring the wisdom and the guidance from the alumni into the fold to enable us to continue to provide excellent programming for women at Sloan. And lastly, I really would like to thank the outgoing presidents, as well as the incoming VPs, who are with us in the audience today, and the Alumni Relations Office for making this event happen.
And now we are honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Kirk Fair. Rebecca is a managing principal at Analysis Group, a leading economic consulting firm, where she was before and after her time here at Sloan. She has conducted economic analysis and managed case teams in support of academic experts in a variety of cases ranging from IP to tax to major antitrust litigation.
And Rebecca has also served as an expert witness in matters involving corporate valuation, damages stemming from breach of contract, and rebuttal analysis of survey evidence in an IP matter involving smartphones. Rebecca has extensive experience in the development, administration, and analysis of surveys in antitrust, false advertising, intellectual property matters, and strategy cases.
When she's not working, she is chasing after her 4 adorable children, catching up with her Sloan friends near and far, and finding time to travel the globe. As my time here at Sloan is coming to an end, I'm so excited to become part of this amazing alumni network. And I know that I chose to attend Sloan along with many women in this room precisely because of women like Rebecca, and we are so excited to hear from her now.
Hi. I remember driving home from Middlebury College, heading back to Boston, completely terrified, thinking, what's going to happen now? I kind of knew for 2 or 3 years I'd be at Analysis Group, but then what should I do? I had a sense that I'd need to go off to graduate school, but did I want a law degree? Did I want a PhD? Did I want my MBA? What school should I go to once I'd made that decision about what degree to have? I had no idea. Thanks for having me here today so I can tell you a little bit about how Sloan became the answer to all of those questions and so much more, and has helped really form who I am and encourage me to embrace who I was even before I arrived. 2 years into my job at Analysis Group, I'd been working with Bob Pindyke, John Hauser, Arnie Barnett, and others from Sloan. That was my introduction to this fabulous community, the professors. And then about a year later, my closest colleague and very good friend, Lau Christensen, was heading off to Sloan, and I was so jealous to hear all of the things he was looking forward to. So I started to really think about what I wanted to do. And when I looked around, the 3 closest advisors that I had were all Sloan alumni. And they were strong, they were brilliant economists, they were quick, they were decisive, but they were also supportive and collaborative. To put it briefly, they were everything I wanted to be. They were successful, powerful Sloan women who helped to make Analysis Group the place that I loved working. The next year, I headed off to Sloan, following in their footsteps, and it was everything I hoped it would be. It was challenging but collaborative. It was scary but really exciting, and it was filled with inspiration. What I didn't expect when I got here was that I would find a close-knit group of hysterically funny, extremely confident, and influential classmates who came, I'm sorry, I didn't know I'd tear up, but one of them's here, that I would come to consider my best friends. When I think of these friends, I think back on a really funny story. I dated a Brazilian guy, his name's Rogério, and one day we spent the whole afternoon with my friends, and he turned to me at the end of the evening and he said, "Boy, American women are blunt, they're aggressive, and they're really loud." And I cracked up. I thought, you don't know American women. These are Sloan women. And I could have been offended by what he said, but I wasn't. You know, Rogério sort of just made blunt observations. It was who he was. He would often turn to me at dinner and say, "Are you really going to eat that entire steak?" And I would turn with my mouth full and say, "Why, yes, I am." And he wasn't trying to tell me that I shouldn't eat the steak. He was just observing that I was eating a lot of food. But the other reason I wasn't offended by what he said is because all of those things that he commented on in somewhat disparaging way about my friends were what I loved about myself and what I most respected about them. We embrace the traits that push us to stand up in the front of the room, to speak our minds, and to strive for the promotion, rather than shrinking away from those things. When we hear monikers like bossy, instead of getting upset by it, we say, "I am the boss. I'm really proud of it." Rather than thinking it's disparaging to be called blunt, we see it as encouraging people to seek our advice because we're going to tell them what we really think. And rather than worrying that we're loud, we're really proud that we're being heard. I think the things that got me to Sloan and the things that grounded these traits and these strengths were my parents, an affinity for math and science, a love of debate, things that were typically seen as male-dominated. But I grew up in a small town, And there weren't so many men in the classes that I was in that I didn't shrink away from speaking up or sitting in the front of the room or asking to be the teaching assistant in high school. And that's what got me to Sloan. But then the question becomes, what can we do with those traits when we leave Sloan? How do we pursue leadership positions in fields that are still dominated by men? What can we do in an age when every article I read covers disparities in pay, ongoing gaps in opportunities for C-level positions, and the perpetual mommy track? Many of us have read countless articles on these topics, opinion pieces and books on advice on how to manage through these roadblocks that are put in front of us. But rather than offering another version of similar observations, I thought it'd be more relevant to tell you what I think has helped me get to where I am. The first thing is I found the right place to work. And as Julia mentioned, I've been there since I graduated from college. It's run by a woman. We're not judged by gender or title. It values direct communication, so that bluntness is not a problem for me. It's in fact embraced and encouraged. We have candid discussions about all topics. We offer flexibility to the people who've earned it, so you can work from home, you can work remotely from other places if you need to. When I found some of my friends have stalled out in their jobs, they end up being happier moving on to the next place that actually helps them to grow and develop and blossom into who they can become instead of trying to manage their way and fixing the problems where they are. The second thing is I seek advice from everyone. One of the things that I've found most striking is that a man might tell me, stand firm on that billing issue, and a woman might give me the right frame for presenting a budget overrun to a client in an email. A man might say, wait 24 hours before you respond to that email request for action. That was an oddly insightful piece of advice for me because I'm usually at 2 minutes. I get the email, I send it back, I respond to the request, I provide the input. But by waiting, I end up letting other people step up and solve the problem. Oftentimes the request disappears. So instead of running to keep up with my email, I give it this 24 hours. That was an advice from a man, where most of the women I work with are like me, they respond 2 minutes later. Some of the best advice I've gotten from women is to embrace my flaws. Talk about them. Feel comfortable and confident saying, I'm a little aggressive. Sometimes I have some sharp elbows. Might not work out when I speak too much in a meeting, or I don't have attention to detail. But by having these discussions out loud and inviting people to give me feedback, it's allowed me to also offer them advice and guidance. So when someone comes to me and says, I'm getting a little nervous in client meetings, I'm not sure what to do, I can say, that happens to me. Let me give you some of the tricks that I've used. So by reaching out to men and women, I think I'm getting a more holistic expression of the right way to handle conflicts, the right way to get the most out of my case teams. The third thing that I've really found has made a difference for me is I spend a lot of time building and maintaining relationships. It can be really daunting. I've got 4 kids. I have a husband. I have a very stressful job. But I take the time to network. If I'm in New York for a client meeting, I extend my trip to go out to dinner, go to a cocktail party, go to that alumni event someplace. I always offer help. If someone's looking for a new job, I offer to read their resume. If someone's children are trying to get into college, I offer to help with their essays. Making these connections, doing it in this intimate way, has given me a lot of strength and confidence that if anything goes wrong, I have people to reach out to. If I need something, I know they're going to be there for me because I've been there for them. The other thing that I think is really critical and I think is very difficult for women in our position in our society is to embrace these qualities, the things that Rogerio was talking about. I have very close friends in senior positions in finance, food services, professional sports, travel and entertainment, computer hardware and software, and consulting services. What I've noticed is that regardless of industry or title, what we all need to be is decisive, creative, and confident leaders. You have to manage teams, drive strategy, negotiate with clients and customers. This can cause hiccups. As I said, I've been noted for having sharp elbows. I have to watch my tone. We can't be good leaders unless we can really listen and embrace and support the people around us. But I think that if you try and change who you are, you're going to really struggle. And lastly, I think, and most importantly for me, I have a very supportive husband. Obviously, I'm here. He is home with 4 children, 5 and under, and he's sorting out dinner. His career is no more important than mine. His mother's an extremely successful economist at Yale. His sister is an economist at Chicago. I think he was used to bossy women when I found him. So rather than being threatened by my success, he says to himself, Rebecca's success means our family's success. He doesn't assume that if one of our kids is sick that I'm going to be the one to stay home. He makes the doctor's appointments too. He helps with the chores at the house. We don't have to set boundaries about I'm going to do these things and you're going to do those things. We both think everything is our responsibility. By having that support system at home, whoever that is for you, a best friend, a sister, a brother, a partner, having that support system at home that's going to encourage you at every step and give you honest and candid feedback along the way is very valuable. So hearing me talk, I imagine that many of you identify similar traits in yourselves. My primary piece of advice is to own those traits, embrace those traits. Find places that allow you to blossom from those strengths, those things that may cause someone like Rosario to say that you're bossy or loud. I think if we all work together and find the best parts of being a woman and the best parts of being a man and bring those together as leaders in our organizations, we're all going to move forward and continue the success that the United States has had. So step up, don't hide who you are, don't change. Listen, grow, develop, improve, but don't shrink away from who you are. Incorporate those best parts of yourself. And don't ever be embarrassed to say, not only am I going to eat this steak, but I want to know what's on the dessert menu. Thank you all, and continue to be the wonderful, strong group of Sloan people that I've come to admire. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good luck. I'm so glad that swim's still going.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you all for joining us. I hope you'll stay, have more food, chat with one another, and ask Rebecca any questions you may have, and enjoy your afternoon. The sun is out for us for the remainder of the morning.